Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Rest Round Bets, episode 6. We are your hosts, Matt and Nick, and we're here to continue to bring you some money makers because, Nick, what was your record since you started
Not
tracking it
since I
this year?
started, just in the last 23 bets. I'm shooting 20 for 3, right? Or 20 and 3 rather right now.
Which is
Absolutely
fucking,
going unconscious streak at the moment.
yeah. And so if you're not tailing bets, and I got to catch up where I am. I'm in the positive. I think last week I had another week that was positive because I got my Phil Hawes 3-unit play, which was fucking stealing money. I don't know if you heard us on the podcast, but we were saying like, man, that should have been that you circle that and you go to the moon with that. I don't know why we didn't go bigger, but it is what it is. So this week we were saying it's an exciting card. There's meaningful matchups, but from a betting perspective, not nearly as intriguing as last week. So I only have 4 bets. Nick has 4 bets, in 3 fights, though, right?
3 fights.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
then actually, if I have 4 bets and 4 fights, then I'll just go first then. So starting off, I'm going with, and I literally just saw this 2 seconds ago, Mike Grundy versus Lando Venata. It took me a second to remember who Mike Grundy was. It's the wrestling coach from like the UK. It's like the one good wrestler that the UK puts out. Um, and Lando Venata, if you don't remember him, he's the guy that probably has the statement loss of statement losses, where he literally just made a name by beating Tony Ferguson for a round in Tony Ferguson's prime and hasn't done a whole lot since. So I am going to hammer Grundy here because I think this is going to be they're lining Lando Venata and Tony Ferguson on the same card and being like, look at these guys. And I'm looking at Tony Ferguson. I'm like, ooh, he's dropped off a bunch. There's no way Lando hasn't dropped off a bunch either. And I don't think he was that good to start with. So no offense, but offense. Mike Grundy is just the better talent. Minus 125. Hammer it.
I I don't think I've ever watched Mike Grundy fight.
He was the guy that I talked myself up on the YouTube videos. He's YouTube video guys. I think he was
Didn't
like,
he lose his last fight?
he
Yeah, he did.
lost.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, he lost his last fight, but before I think he was on like a 3-fight win streak.
No, he's been on a much bigger win streak than that. He's like 12 and 2.
Oh shit. Then yeah, I'm pretty. The guy just literally just wants to go out there and grapple, and but so there's a good chance that Lando Venado just knocks him out. But I'm gonna say like, hey, Lando doesn't have that in him anymore.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, Lando Venata's got to be getting old as shit too.
That's
Not
what
that
like
Mike Grundy's young, but
I literally just used Tony Ferguson as a reference. I'm just like, oh yeah, he's famous for fighting Tony Ferguson. I'm like, oh, and Tony
Lando
Ferguson's
Venata's still 29.
oh, ouch. Well, that's not good for the argument, but I mean, I don't know if that's better or worse because Lando Venata has been like his record hasn't been great as of late. Um,
It hasn't been great as of
ever.
ever.
True.
It
So at least
literally
he's
has
consistent.
never been good,
If he's
except for
anything,
prior to the
he's
UFC.
consistent. That's funny.
Yeah, 2 draws. He's three, 5 and 2 in his last 10.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not great.
No.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump co-main event all the way up. I'm taking Beneil Dariush here. Minus 185, 2-unit play. I think Tony Ferguson's completely washed.
Yeah.
And even if he's not completely washed, his last 3 wins have aged so poorly. Like
Yeah.
Tony Ferguson's last 3 wins are Cowboy, Pettis, and Kevin Lee.
You got about
Yikes.
1.5 UFC fighters on that roster, like caliber fighters. It's definitely not 3.
And it was say what you want. Okay, yeah, Kevin Lee's got the Gregor Gillespie win. It was, let's call a spade a spade. It was Kevin Lee with staff.
True.
So it really the career of Tony Ferguson just not aging so well, and just how do I want to say this? Like his last 2 fights, especially, like he certainly still looks as though he's willing to get into these offensive gunfights, but he has looked more hittable than ever in his last 2 fights.
Yeah.
And I don't mean just hittable with strike. I know hittable is not the right word for any wrestling or anything, but he has looked more just do something to him offensively, a bull.
Open for attacks, because normally like the quickness or some like just he just doesn't have the edge where it's like, oh, like when people start kind of teeing off on him, they're able to continue these, and it's like, oh, usually he's able to turn it on you at that point, and it's like, where's the turning point? And it just seems like in the last couple of fights there has been no turning point. And like Beneil Dariush is, I'm not saying he's Justin Gaethje, I'm not saying he's fucking Charles Oliveira, but like he's getting to the point where you got to put him in the conversation of like, this guy's like title contender. Like just
I
look
think he's
what
good enough.
like Diego Ferreira. Like look, him and Gregor Gillespie just had an awesome fight, and I'm not doing MMA math here, but I'm doing MMA math here. Dariush has beaten that guy twice, and like dominated him on the ground and stuff. And like that guy's no slouch. And I don't think Tony Ferguson's a slouch. Oh, proud to say my next pick is also Beneil Dariush. I saw it at minus 175, so I guess it's going up a little bit. So minus 185. Um, it's just the thing about Tony is I think he's one of these fighters that, well, I don't think, you kind of know that he just relies on his physicality so much of like, hey, I can just outpace you, and I'm going to be in better cardio shape. And like you even see on Embedded, he still has the same mentality. It's like, it's 3 a.m. I'm just going. And I'm just like,
What is he doing, by the way?
no clue.
What are you trying to prove by just running? And then the even worse is Ben Saunders. Oh yeah, grind don't stop. Dude, it's 72 hours to a fight. Do you really think you need to be running 5 fucking miles right now? Maybe just hit a sauna session and chill, bro.
The funniest thing was when Ben Saunders was like, dude, this guy is a maniac. Like, he puts me to shame. I'm like, yeah, no shit. You're Ben Saunders. Like,
Yeah,
Tony Ferguson is like, yeah, he puts you to shame. In every capacity, he's just been more successful. Like, that you made it sound like you were saying something. That's like me saying, like, oh, Tony Ferguson puts me to shame. It's like, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's just like when you see the mentality, it's just like, oh no, I just need to grind more. When it's like, dude, your body does not need to grind more. Like you got to find other ways to be effective. And I'm like, dude, if you're just going like, hey, hopefully I'm just gonna get my physicality back, buddy, it ain't coming back. And Dariush is a madman that is very physical. Like it's gonna be a crazy fight. Like they've decided they're just gonna have a crazy off. It's hard to put trust into Togi Ferguson. Based on like the product we've seen. And again, stick with the plan. Last week, I did not stick with the plan. I bet on Cowboy, bet on sadness. It's not going to be that sad.
Don't deviate from the strategy, man.
If don't get cute or you think, but this could be the time. It's never the time. Sadness.
The only person that's defied the strategy is Glover Teixeira, and you better believe his time's fucking coming.
It's coming. I don't know what like. Father Time has his back turned on Glover Teixeira, but one day when he realizes how far that motherfucker's gone, he's going to slap him across the face, and I will be waiting there to cash that ticket because I am too invested to not keep betting on Glover Teixeira.
And just to add on a little more actual intelligent analysis other than Tony's shot is, I just don't understand. Not I don't understand, but so at this point, right, Dariush is he's not Charles Oliveira, so he's not going to be as dominant on the mat, but there's absolutely, I don't think that Tony Ferguson has a double leg or some sort of Imanari role. I mean, again, if anybody knows my opinion on jiu-jitsu, this doesn't really mean fuck all, but Dariush, for what it's worth, did win blue, purple, and brown belt worlds. I just don't, it doesn't mean he's unsubmittable. Plenty of black belts get submitted all the fucking time in the UFC. But I just don't think that Tony, I mean, if you got Eddie Bravo in the corner screaming Imanari roll, Beneil Dariush he's not fucking with that. Like, that's just not going to be a thing that is something that, whoa, Beneil Dariush got caught off guard with an Imanari roll this fight. It's not going to happen. I don't think Tony Ferguson, has the double or the single or even snap down city. I don't think he's got the snap down to get Dariush to the mat. I
don't think he has the horsepower.
And I think if Dariush takes Tony, I think if Dariush takes Tony down, we've always got the elbows that Tony talks about. So if he busts those out, whatever. But this shit that he was trying to do with, why the fuck, Oliveira. This shit that he was trying to do, like the buggy choke. Dariush ain't going for that either. No. So I just think that Dariush has, with them both being really hittable, I trust Tony's durability way less, and not even durability. I mean, they're both, like you said, psychos.
Mm-hmm.
But if they get into a gunfight and they both are rocking each other, I trust that Dariush, if they're both concussed, Tony looks more concussed, I guess is the way that I'm trying to put it. And so if he's got that edge on the feet, and then if they also go to the mat, I don't think Tony's really going to do too much in a 3-round fight where it's not going to be, hey, what's the one thing we can fall back on Tony Ferguson on if he does bring this out of the grave? Hey, I've got hella crazy cardio. It's 15 minutes.
Right.
So you're not even going to really get to that. And I trust Dariush to pick off 2 of these rounds against a deteriorating Tony Ferguson.
No, I couldn't agree more. It'll be fun. I think like Dariush, if there is a guy to like, it won't be as sad as Cowboy losing to Brandon Moreno is what I'm saying. But yeah, that was my second pick. So Nick, rattle off one more and then I'll get to my.
Well, I got my 2-piece coming up. We're jumping main event. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go with, this is lately, you might not, as you may or may not have noticed, on a 20-3 run, I've felt pretty goddamn good about most of my picks. And also, for what it's worth, one of those losses was a profitable play because it was the Rose
submission line.
Wiley parlay
or finish
thing.
line, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to hedge against each other, and naturally it paid off. This, I will say, I'm doing a little more gambling than quote unquote touting here.
Sounds like
but
a daily double's
right
coming.
Into,
Sounds like
no,
a daily
it's not
double.
actually.
Okay.
I thought about it, but it's not. I'm dipping into the Michael Chandler. I'm going Michael Chandler in the main event.
Really?
Plus 115, and I'm taking Michael Chandler by knockout plus 205. Logic here being, I looked up who Oliveira's fought. I'm not taking anything away from, he dominated Tony Ferguson. No 2 ways about it. But even if you just credit that Tony Ferguson win as hey, that's classic Tony Ferguson. That said, the problems that Michael Chandler presents are entirely different than anybody Oliveira's fought. Really, this is going to be a totally off-base comparison, but I'm talking about just being a straight one-hitter quitter. He hasn't fought someone that's just I've got 2 punches, left hook, right hand, and you're done, since he fought the Tamer brother. I forgot which one that it was.
The better one. But
yeah,
still,
I think it's David.
Yeah.
And so,
but still, he's not like a world beater.
Right, exactly. And I think that Michael Chandler has honestly got more fast switch muscle than that guy.
True.
And that guy hits fucking hard. So my kind of theory here is somebody is going to end up looking bad in this fight. And it's either going to, which is so counterintuitive because on the one hand, if Michael Chandler is to look bad, I really do kind of think it's, I mean, I guess it could happen in a scramble early on or something, but I really think if Chandler's going to look bad, he's going to do the classic Michael Chandler thing where he expends literally every ounce of energy he has in the first 7 minutes. And then he's just not that because he's a grit guy. So he'll expend all of his explosive, I can knock you out still energy in the first 7 minutes, but he'll keep grinding through the last 15 minutes of a fight. But it's just, that's not going to be enough. And so I can't believe I'm siding with Oliveira being the long-term play to like mentally stay in the game. Yeah. That seems a little backwards, but I really do. I think Michael Chandler's best chance to win this fight is the first 7.5, 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm banking on him getting it done. I just think that it's a title fight. He knows there's a lot. Emotional guy. He's doing the backflips. I'm putting
juice
a lot
to the gills.
Yeah, I'm putting a lot of stock in Michael Chandler just coming out, and it's going to be the Alex Morono strategy against Cowboy, and he's just slinging Randy Johnson. He's just throwing. It's going to be pure fastballs for 5 minutes, and if he cracks Oliveira with 1 or 2 of them, I think he's going down. And
basically, so the Dan Hooker fight is what you're looking at, which I can see a real possibility, like more heat though, like. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like coming with, because he was throwing, but
even in that fight, it was a lot. He would just duck in and do a lot of body jabbing and shit.
Not
like
as much
that.
pressure.
I
get what you're saying.
It's gonna just be.
I'm coming for your
we're
ass.
Literally, Araldus Chapman. Let's hit Just
Yeah.
how many times can I hit 105
Yeah.
before I just completely have no energy?
Yeah.
And then if that happens, because the other thing too is, let's say Oliveira comes out and he wants to wrestle, just purely on the basis of too much fast twitch muscle, I just don't think he's going to be able to get and keep as good
Mhm.
as he is on the mat. And Charles Oliveira is incredible on the mat. I just don't think that in the first 5 minutes he's going to be able to get. I The only way I could see it is if it's one of these scrambles that ends up with him on his back, hooks in,
Mhm.
then Chandler's fucked. But I'm saying if he gets him down and trip takedown and puts him in like a half guard or something, I do not think that
Mhm.
in the first 5 minutes, I don't see Oliveira holding Chandler down.
See, I mean, you make valid points, and you have me debating changing around my next pick, but I'm stick with my guns. I'm going Chucky Owls, man. I'm going Du Bronx. Mostly, and I'm putting way too much stock into this. I know it is just Michael Chandler's had less than a round in the UFC. Like, if he goes out there and just starches Du Bronx, it's like, dude, he's had 2 rounds in the UFC. Can we really say this guy is the best out there? Like, we've seen such a small sample size, and I get it. Like, we've seen a large sample size of him in Bellator, which wasn't flawless. There's a couple of wins, like
Oh, far from it.
yeah, and I get it. We had an amazing run. It's like, holy shit, this guy could do the world. And it's like, we have quite a book of business that we've seen of Du Bronx, and it's been up and downs too. And like lately, it's just he's been streaking. Granted, the Tony Ferguson, I
Lately,
don't
it's
know.
all been straight up.
Yeah, and it's
I
been
think
like
the narrative of him being a quitter is,
far
we're kind
gone.
of putting that a little bit to bed.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, it's not really a thing. But again, we haven't really seen him in a 5 round war before, so we can't like. You never like once a quitter. Is it always a quitter? Like I don't know. Like he's still doing it. He's been doing it for 11 years, and he was young as shit, man. I can't believe he's been UFC for he says 11 years already. I'm like, damn. Um, the way I look at it is one physicality. Like, dude, Charles Oliveira is fucking massive. Like, it's crazy that like he fought at 145 before, right?
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Like, he is just a huge dude. I remember when he was going against Kevin Lee. It's just like, damn. Like, how is this wrestler going to like close the distance and like successfully, you know, hold this guy down? That's like super good on the ground. And we saw what happened. He got submitted. And I just I'm somehow just envisioning a round, like kind of like round one of Dan Hooker, and he's maybe landing a good shot. But like you said, I think over the 5 round span, definitely goes up. Like you said, Michael Chandler's a grinder, but he's most dangerous like those first few rounds. Like, and he's got the most explosiveness. And so I just think with the size and being able to control the range, and also like being really fucking good at grappling, like I feel like it almost helps that Chandler that's his strength because kind of like in the Kevin Lee fight, like he's gonna come at you. There could be grappling exchanges, and you're dangerous as fuck from there. And I don't know necessarily it's gonna lead to a submission, but I could definitely see a situation where maybe Chandler goes in for a shot, wraps up a guillotine, they get into a scramble. Now Oliveira's on top, and he's just doing the really fucking mean thing with his elbows. Like I feel like he's been looking for more opportunities to be like, oh, we're grappling, but how can I just really hurt you? And I don't know. I think the end of the day, I feel like he just might be the best in the fucking weight class. Like outside of Khabib, there's a chance that Charles Oliveira is the best in the weight class. And I don't know if I feel the same tenacity with Michael Chandler. And hey, if he proves me wrong, I'm 100% here for it because like the dude's had 2 fights in the UFC. Like there's infinity matchups to make up. There are no like losses along the first way or like, oh, these guys have been avoided. It's like, oh no, we have not fought each other at all. He has Gaethje, he has Tony, he has Connor, he has Dustin. So if he wins, I think best for the UFC, best case scenario, Michael Chandler wins. But I don't know, man. I want the redemption story of Charles Oliveira, so I'm rooting with him. What is it? Minus 135 now. So pretty close. I think that's probably accurate.
That's about right. I think
Yeah.
Michael Chandler is going to get it done for Black History Month.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, lock of the week. This was a no-brainer to me.
I got it too. I guarantee it.
Kaylin Chukagian.
No, wait. What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Minus 140, 3-unit lock of the week. They're going another reasonable lock of the week, fighting Vivian Araju. My big sticking point here was going to be that Vivian Araju had lost to Jessica Ai, but then I realized that Kaylin Chukagian also has lost to Jessica Ai, albeit Vivian has lost to her more recently, which is worse.
Mm.
That said, uh, I took the gamble on, I believe Roxanne Modafferi closed around plus 420 or something absurd against Vivian Araju when they fought. And I just put a flyer out there on that one, which was dumb, of course. That said, I mean, Araju looked great against Modafferi, who has literally zero defensive tools on the feet. Nothing coming. There was no feints, no range control, no staying off the cage, no jab, no distance management, nothing. Quite literally nothing. And I think Modafferi actually stole a round in that fight, if I remember correctly. This this will not go that way. This is going to be another when Chukagian fought her last two fights that I've gotten correct have been no brainers. I do think I took the flyer on her against who's a little spark plug. God damn it, Jessica Andrade.
Yes.
I do think I took the flyer on her there, but big dog, and I was very nervous about the play. But her versus Shevchenko and her versus Calvillo, I was dead set sure on. I feel the same way with this one. It's not going to be exciting, but it's going to be that's a Raju's game. She's got to get in and get going and just tee off on someone like a Roxanne Modafferi, and she looks really great. And this is going to be a lot of her getting in and teep kicks from Chukagian, flashing the front kick to the face, but never connecting from Chukagian, jabbing, and of course, a shitload of kias. So,
it's going to be Kias City, man.
Which, as we all know, scores so well with the judges.
Mm-hmm.
So, I really, she could definitely drop around. I also, one big X factor that I'm not aware of that I just didn't bother to really look up because I couldn't find it. Now that Danaher's in Puerto Rico, I don't know if he's cornering her.
My guess would be probably not, but who knows?
Yeah,
that
so that could be
crazy,
a big X factor.
Yeah,
but realistically, if she just does, because I don't think this is going to the ground, and Chukagian is pretty competent on the ground, and Araju is nothing special on the ground. Mm-hmm. I mean, Roxanne Modafferi was giving her a go on the mat, wasn't getting her down actually, but on the mat in the grappling department. I think Chukagian will be just fine down there. But yeah, I think that this is going to be a lot of jabbing, a lot of kiaing, a lot of straight kicks, and we're going to tidy up with a bow, a nice, clean cut, boring 2 rounds to 1 decision.
Yeah. It might get a little hairy with a split decision, but like if it goes a split, you're going to know it's going to Caitlin because everyone knows it's like, oh, like it goes by punches, takedowns, ring control, then he has. So she wins there, always takes the cake.
She's going to have 2 of those categories locked up no matter what.
Yeah.
So I saw that one that leapt off the board at me.
The one that jumped out to me, and I don't know how you don't have this one, and maybe her last 3 fights is a reason why, but I'm taking KGB Lee for 3 units plus 105 here because why is Antonina Shevchenko a favorite again?
Oh, dude, I'll tell you why I don't have this on my card when you're done.
Because, well, I'm looking at Andrea KGB Lee's record, and she's got 3 losses in her last 3, which is never great. The last one being to Roxanne Modafferi. But you know what? At the end of the day, I just think KGB Lee's a better fighter. And if you look back at those, like the JoJo Calderwood, that was a split decision. That was the one in Abu Dhabi as well, where KGB was winning and then gassed like a brick wall. Lauren Murphy, another loss, split decision. Roxanne, let's not talk about it. Roxanne, at this point, I'm just going to write that one up as Roxanne got good at that point, but when she beat Antonina, she wasn't good yet. But yeah, Antonina, she's coming off of a win of Ariana Lipski. And it's like, are we really giving her a favorite line because she just beat Lipski? It's like, okay, you beat someone on the roster. I don't know. It's just they're
beat someone on the Baywatch.
Yeah, I mean, but still, come on. It's Lipski here. She's had some pretty bad losses. No offense. We love you, Lipski. So this one, I'm just like, I just don't get it with Antonina. I really just don't see it. 36 years old, 9-2, who should be in the UFC? Ji Yeon Kim, Lucy Pudilova, and Ariana Lipski. And the only two real tests she had were Chokagi and Modafferi, and she lost both of those. So I'm chalking her up as just being the lesser of the Shevchenko. Everyone's just riding on the heels, and they're just like, oh, her name's Shevchenko, she must be as good. It's like, no, she's just not. So I'm hammering that one 3 units. Put it down for KGB.
Dude, I just think that this fight is going to be an absolute shit show.
Yeah.
The way that KGB has lost makes me so. It's almost as though in watching her last 3 fights that she has gotten just in all phases, and this is, I mean, no offense, but kind of offense. It all just it looks fine for about a round. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can fuck with it, and then it just looks sloppy.
Starts
Like
falling
whether
off.
it's
Yeah.
getting done or not, it's the wrestling sloppy. We're just getting taken down by weird running doubles from Roxanne Modafferi, or Lauren Murphy is just like body locking us to the ground, but we're not whizzing or setting up a guard. We're just getting thrown into side control. Very, very weird stuff. And then when the next round starts, just no use of the jab that was there in the first round, but isn't. So there's that. And then on the other side, yeah, Shevchenko knocked out Lipsky, but on the other side of that, there's fights that she has where she just looks like she would rather be doing the kicking warm-up thing than actually fighting someone. And
she always seems like she'd rather be doing the kicking thing than be fighting.
And she has no ground game whatsoever. So I have no idea what happens if this hits the mat, if they clinch up. I don't know that anyone will go for a takedown, but I'm just saying, what happens if
grab your puke bucket, because it's gonna get fucking nasty. It's gonna be
what
gross.
happens if this is a Jeff Neal Magny situation where they just ram into each other and clinch up? Who wins that? Like, it's just gonna be an all around weird fight. Could not put it on my card. I really, before I even looked at the lines, I was dying to hammer the decision line, or the just fight goes to decision or the over. It's roughly minus 450. So it just wasn't even worth it. But
I saw
the
over 1.5 is minus 750. It's like they have zero faith that they put each other away.
And now is when I should be taking flyers on shit like that, because I am up the requisite amount of units to not give a fuck. But even that, I couldn't even justify. If somebody trips into a knee or something, I would just be so furious. But I mean, I know that that's why the line is the way it is, and that's how gambling works. So nobody needs to fucking come at me for this shit. But that really seems like a lock that this goes to a decision. I can't even imagine.
It's like the sun
KGB hasn't finished a fight since she's been in the UFC.
Yeah,
and Antonina accidentally finished Lipsky, basically.
Yeah, she like sneezed and Lipsky fucking got knocked out. That's what happens when you fight Lipsky. You make some great points here, and really, I think it comes down to like just hungry dog runs faster. She's on a 3-fight skid against some, like, I guess, reputable competition, and she needs a W here like fucking bad. And I think Antonina, she's coming off a win. She's just trading wins and losses. She just needs to be in the UFC long enough that she could do these kick dances. Yeah, so she's gonna stay with the just status quo, just win loss. KGB Lee, her life is on the line right now. So I'm hoping, she's able to pull it out here. But it does help that like I know like the takedowns and like any sort of ground game is not really a factor when it comes to fighting Antonina. Watch, this is gonna be the one fight that she just comes out looking like goddamn Gordon Ryan, and I'm gonna just eat my hat.
Not even that. It'll be even worse. They'll both come down thinking, oh, I bet they think I'm going to strike. You know what's going to really throw her off? Wrestling. Yeah. And then we're just going to get 15 minutes of horse shit wrestling. I did see that KGB was she's been posting a bunch of shit saying, oh, working with the best wrestling coach in the state. And she's up in North Dakota or something, working with a high school wrestling coach. They just brought wrestling mats outside, just doing some of the wrestling training outside. No offense to that guy. I'm sure he's a great wrestling coach in North Dakota, but this is like the Chicago Bears always looking for the diamond in the rough in the first round. KGB, if your wrestling needs work, why don't we try the proven commodities first instead of trying to go find some high school wrestling coach who is not an MMA coach, wrestling and MMA and wrestling are two completely different things.
Yep.
And you just are going to run into there and think, oh, yep, you know what? Now I've got a high crotch that I can use against Antonina Shevchenko.
She's like, if I start in the referee's position, this bitch cannot hold me down. And it's like
I'm going to get my one.
Yeah, clear the wrist and get her one.
Just like, what are you doing? So I don't know. That's why I couldn't. I mean, respect the pick. I get where you're coming from. The thought process. I see the vision, but there's far too much of a risk for this. Chandler Oliveira, for example, like I said, someone's going to end up looking bad. I'm okay. That's the nature of that fight.
Mm-hmm.
But where this one this is going to be a shit show no matter which way it goes. It is going to be
a tornado.
Probably, honestly, a fun fight to watch, if for no other reason than it'll be funny.
Mm-hmm.
If it gets really bad, it'll be funny. And if it's good and they just stay on the feet and bang it out, it'll be one of those great fights where it's just two chicks that can't knock each other out, but they're just hitting each other for 15 straight minutes. So it'll be, if nothing else, good to watch.
It's going to be one of these fights where defense is just thrown out of the window, like about 10 seconds into the second round. As soon as they realize, like, oh, this person's still coming at me, it's like, well, I'm going to stop defending. And we're just going to like grab each other. And just like, they're going to be in the clinch, just literally just exchanging like short rabbit punches. And it might be kind of awesome. So I'm here for it. I hope KGB Lee pulls it out. I hope we keep this hot streak going. Because let me tell you, it feels way better to be winning than losing. It's fucking crazy. Like, no one tells you that like, wow, winning feels 10,000 better times than losing your bet. So I want to be on this winning side. Nick has been on the winning side. So guys, you got to follow us. So you can always find us at me on Twitter at Broliva MMA, Nick at _ a guy and a gi, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at The Rest Round. Make sure to subscribe to us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to your podcasts. We enjoy the support. DM us, let us know if we're fucking idiots for our picks. But as you can see, we haven't been. So until we are bad at our picks again, you can't say shit. So until then, and until next week, peace out, y'all.